Hey, this is Bill and my good friend Cliff. I'm sorry I started his words because I haven't seen him in a long time. I've known him since I was 4. God forbid, I know you're probably praying saying, why did you know this idiot since he was 4? Look at him.
Hmm.
Go on, Cliff. You got anything stupid to say?
Nothing stupid. Thanks for inviting me to your show. I've been watching your videos, and I gotta say, Bill, I'm pretty impressed. You've been doing a decent job. Nobody thought you could do it, but you proved everybody wrong. So, I don't know if this is going to be the video that makes you go viral, but let's kick it off. I know, we spoke before the video. You said you wanted some of my feedback on this weekend football, the New York teams. I don't know if you want me to limit it to your, as you call them, my beloved Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants, or you just want to talk about those teams? You want to talk about all three teams? You tell me what you want to talk about. How about that?
I want to talk about all football because you know I'm an NFL fan.
All
And
right,
my Bills, let's be honest, they got the freaking ass handed to them.
they
Am I
certainly did.
upset? I told you they needed help. They need to run the ball better. You see my videos on that? And you can't
Yeah.
rely on just one guy with Josh Allen as 80+% of the offense. Look at
Yeah.
how far the Giants went with Daniel Jones, which he was like what, 45% of the offense? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
I just
I
want to
mean,
know what the hell your take is on that
yeah.
shit.
So here's my take. One, kudos to you because you've been saying it all year long that they need to establish a running game. The Bills never did that. The Bills never really they unfortunately they never really had a good running threat. And like you, now I don't know if your audience doesn't know this. We're the same age, okay? So we're two middle-aged men in the mid 50s. We've been watching football for a very long time. So the one thing that we learned, we're almost as old as the NFL, actually, right? So
Pretty
that's the truth,
much.
right? That's the truth. So at the end of the day, you could go back in history. Every good NFL team had an offense that had dual threat, right? You had if you're not able to establish a good running game, it never opens up the passing lanes, and you're never really able to have a high potent offense. Now that doesn't mean you can't win in the NFL because if you have a defense like let's say the '86 Bears, you and I could be the quarterback in those teams. Well, that's an
Exactly.
insult to Jim McMahon, so I shouldn't say that. But the point is that if you have a
I get
stud
the point.
defense, you can win in the NFL, right? But you have to have a well balanced team, and offensively, you have to have a balanced attack. So again, kudos to you. I don't think the Bills ever had that balanced attack, and you were saying it. You said it multiple times during the year that Josh Allen, you can't rely on him to be the complete offense, right? He felt like he had to run a lot. You can't have a quarterback do what they expected him to do. And it's funny. I said to you, what's today? Today's Tuesday, right? So the Bills played Sunday. I told you Sunday, not that I'm a big Tony Romo fan, but Tony Romo said at one point in the game before it got out of hand, it was trending towards it looked like the Bills they were kind of getting dominated offensively. He said at one point, I forget when it was in the first half, he said, for the Bills to win this game, I'm paraphrasing, but he said for the Bills to win this game, Josh Allen needs to do something special. Josh Allen needs to be Superman. He needs to take the team and put it on his back, right? That's kind of what he said, right? Now, take Cincinnati. Did Joe Burrows have to put the team on his back? No, he didn't. He didn't. Because you know what? What does he have on that team? He's got Jamar Chase. He's got T. Higgins. He's got Joe Mixon. He's got Tyler Boyd. He's got even Hayden Hurst. He's got all these offensive weapons, right? Who does Buffalo have?
They have, like I said, I know you
Diggs.
disagree with me. They have Stephon Diggs and a bunch of role players.
Oh God,
And
here we
don't
go.
really.
Okay, hold on. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. This is. I'm glad you brought that up. If if you have, I know you don't have a million followers, so let's not kid ourselves here. But whoever's watching this right now, if you saw one of the videos that my buddy here did, where he said, "My good friend, we had a big argument because I said the Bills have two players, Josh Allen and Diggs, and everybody else is a role player." We had an argument about this because we were talking about Gabe Davis, and this brilliant man here said, Gabe Davis is a role player. I said, he's not a role player. He's a starter. No, he's a role player. Don't tell me he's a role player. I said, how is he a role player? He's a starter. I said, what's a role player to you? A role player is somebody that's not a great player. He comes in, he's a role player. He couldn't define it. So I said, okay, let me check out on the internet what a role player is. Then
You
he
and
does
your
the video.
internet, you always have to look up this stuff because you
It's
can't.
not that I, okay,
You
let
want
me
to be taught how to think, not what to think.
okay, first of all, let me explain my position. Okay. So you go on your channel and say, my friend, he's got to look up everything on the internet because he went to college. I see that video. I'm like, what is this idiot talking about? Okay. First of all, I disagreed with your definition of a role player. So I wanted to see what the popular consensus was. To me, a role player is either a guy that comes off the bench and he's not really a starter. All right. Or you could call a role player a guy on special teams, a specific role where he's not really an offensive starter or a defensive starter. So to me, Gabe Davis is not a role player. He's a starting number 2 wide receiver. That's my opinion. Okay. You could disagree with that. And you know what? I would love to see your fans comment and tell them what they think a role player is and whether they think Gabe Davis is a role player. He's not a
But
role
all
player.
they're gonna say is most likely they're gonna say all the Bills have is Stephon Diggs, not much of a running game. That's all Josh Allen has.
Okay.
Offensive line is below average. Would you agree with that?
Say that they have 2 really good players and the rest of the team is average or whatever, however you want to phrase it. But it's not a team of 2. First of all, they won their division. They were very close to being the number 1 seed in the league. Okay, if that unfortunate game
That's
was
because they have a quarterback, though. You got to admit
whatever
that.
whatever the reason, they still were the number 2 seed in the AFC, and they very easily could have been the number 1 seed. And the way the last season ended and the way this season started, guess what? They were probably the favorite to be the number 1. If they weren't the favorite, they were, top 2, right? Agreed
yeah.
or disagreed? Okay. So the reality is, we're getting off track here. I want to get back to the main topic of what I thought of the rest of the teams here. But the reality is, Buffalo was one of the top seeded teams, projected to be one of the better teams in the league, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So to say they have 2 good players and everybody else is a role player, that's actually not an accurate comment, in my opinion. You could say that and you could believe that, but to me, it's not an accurate assessment of the team. Okay. Agree or no?
Michael Jordan won championships with him and role players. That's Scottie Pippen, but the rest were just role players.
Okay. There's a big difference between basketball and football. Basketball, you have 1 really good player. Look, take LeBron James. How many times has he been to the NFL Finals? You could put LeBron James on any team in his prime, okay, and give him 4 scrubs, and he'd still make it to the NBA Finals. That's probably it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but basketball is not the same as football. Okay, if you have a dominant player in basketball, Jordan was dominant, LeBron was dominant. More times than not, they go to the NBA Finals. In football, give me 1 player, okay? Take Tom Brady out of this equation for a minute, okay? Take the best player in football and put him on a really bad team, and you tell me what kind of difference he make. Does he make a team that, let's say, went 1-16 with 17 games? Does he make that team a playoff team the next year? Probably not. What position can you take a guy? Because football is way different than basketball. Okay, let's say you take the best quarterback in the league. Who's the best quarterback in the league? You're going to say Patrick Mahomes, I bet you.
Well, obviously.
Okay, put Patrick Mahomes on the worst team in football. Does he make them a playoff team?
I think they'll make him a contention for the playoffs. Yes.
Okay.
I also think Josh Allen would do the same thing, to be honest with you.
Okay, but if you took LeBron James in his prime and put him on any really struggling team, okay, he makes that struggling team an immediate playoff contender. Immediate. That's my opinion. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So football and basketball, you can't compare those 2 sports as it relates to taking 1 dominant player, in my opinion, taking 1 dominant player and putting him on that team. And we're talking about this because you think, as a lifelong Bills fan, that the Bills have 2 good players and everybody else sucks, right?
I never said that. They just need to establish the run more, which I said it because constantly they have to be more creative with the offensive coordinator because it kind of like seems like in the red zone. Josh Allen never turned the ball over in the red zone up until this year. So I
Yeah,
blame the
well-
offensive coordinator.
Well,
And
that's
it's not on Josh Allen, it's on the offensive
Okay.
coordinator.
Here's my total assessment of the Bills from what I've seen. Okay, here's what I would tell you. Okay, what I would tell you is for a team that went into this season with so much optimism, you couldn't take that stupid plastic off the beer. You idiot! Pick that up again. Pick that beer can up again.
I don't have it on here, idiot.
Oh, I thought you had the plastic wrapper.
I did originally.
Okay. Anyway, so I'm off track already. What was I talking? Okay, right. So back to the Bills. So you take the Bills team, okay? You take their season, okay? You were 100% right. They never really. I mean, they got Singletary. He's, I would say he's a pretty good back. He's better than average. I always
I
like the
actually
guy.
think he's underrated. You put him on teams that want to run the ball, he'll have better than 1,000 yards.
I think so too.
So would James Cook.
I think Singletary is a solid back. Okay, James Cook. Honestly, this was his rookie season, right?
Yeah, he's explosive though.
Right. Well, I would say. I mean, I would say that I have to see more of him. But and they traded Zach Moss mid-season, right? Didn't they trade him?
Yeah, to Indianapolis, and they also got that guy Hines.
Oh yeah, they had Hines. I forgot about that. Okay.
They never utilized him either.
Right. Well, if I remember correctly, he was on the Colts, right? He was he's more of a third down back, right? Yeah.
The special teams too.
Yeah. So yeah, right. He actually had those two run backs.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, so they never really established the running game. And listen, if I want to be fair in my assessment, I would say that Bill, you're not going to agree with me, but this is my fair assessment. Your quarterback, Josh Allen, regressed this year. Okay.
He did not regress.
Okay, I know. Okay, you're not gonna.
That is a stupid. Well, hold on. That's a stupid. Regressed 42 total touchdowns. How the hell did that? And over 5,000 total yards. How do you regress?
I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Here's why I say he regressed.
God, is he an idiot?
Because he threw a lot of bad picks. Okay.
Yeah, in the red zone. That's because you don't blame the coordinator for that. And the lack of a running attack.
You know what? You can blame the coordinator.
Are you going to say, is he an elite? Yes or no? Is Josh Allen an elite?
Absolutely, yes. 100%.
Is he the number 2 quarterback in the entire league?
We talk about, so your fans don't know this. You and I have these types of discussions all the time. Okay. If we want to talk about elite quarterbacks, right? Or if I was starting a team right now and I could pick any quarterback in the league right now, okay, who would I take? It would be a very hard decision for me. It would either be Josh Allen or it would be Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't, honestly. I mean, who's in the discussion? Joe Burrow is in the discussion. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of more weapons.
Yeah, I'm Bill. Forget the weapons. I'm talking about talent.
No, weapons mean everything.
Bill, hold on. This is where you're going off track here. What I'm saying,
going off track. I think you lost your mind.
Listen to me. If you could pick any quarterback, I'm not telling you who has a better supporting cast. That's not what I said. I said if you could pick any quarterback for your team, who would you take? Now, I'm telling you who comes into the conversation. Allen, Mahomes, Burrows, Trevor Lawrence, Herbert, and I honestly,
funny.
Who?
Herbert. That's actually kind of funny.
Well, okay. I'm telling you who comes into the conversation. I'm not saying
even Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence went to Clemson.
Okay, listen.
He doesn't have the things that Josh Allen could do.
Okay.
Have you ever seen some of the throws Allen's made on the run?
Bill, hold on. Let me finish my thought here. Okay. I wouldn't take Aaron Rodgers only because of age. I wouldn't take Tom Brady only because of age. Your video's flickering. I don't know if you're seeing that. Anyway.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I wouldn't take those guys only because of age. So if I was starting a team right now and I could pick any quarterback in the league, in my personal opinion, it would either be Mahomes or Allen. That's who it would be. I just mentioned those other guys because those guys would be in the discussion. All right. So let's leave it at that. So back to my comment about Allen. I think he regressed because he threw a lot of bad picks. Okay.
Try to put too much.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause the video. All right,
Okay.
I had to pause the video real quick because Bill's camera was flickering, but we're back on the recording here. All right, so I forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about Josh Allen. So here's why I'm telling you he regressed. Okay, he threw some bad picks this year, and you honestly, when a quarterback starts breaking down like that and throwing picks, this is not something that's
13 to a record of 13-3 means he hasn't digressed. Regress, I mean.
digressed. He did.
I said regress or digress. Whatever
Whatever.
you think I'm talking about.
All right. Anyway. So I would say he had a better season last year than he did this year.
No, he didn't.
You
They
don't
were
think
11-6.
Okay.
He's had 4 fourth quarter comebacks.
Okay. So let's move on from that then. Okay. And I'm just giving you my opinion from what I've seen. And I saw a lot of unfortunate bad decisions that he made in key spots throughout the year. That's what I saw. Okay. Now, you could disagree with me, but that's fine. I think I told you, I think he's a top 2 guy in the league. I would still lean towards Mahomes, but it would be a tough decision if I was picking a guy.
Put this way, the Giants could do one up between Daniel Jones and Josh Allen. Who would you take?
I would take Josh Allen, but I would tell you right now, Daniel Jones, who's been telling you for the last few years that this guy is better than people give him credit for? What have I been telling you about?
Well, yeah, you've been saying that, but it helps that they utilize a running game so it doesn't put too much on his shoulders.
Yeah, well, guess what? Part of the success the Giants had was Daniel Jones able to, his ability to take a play that's breaking down and run for that first down. I don't know how many times he did this year, but he basically.
Well, this is probably the best year of his career overall.
There's no doubt about it.
He wasn't terrible either. I mean, he's very solid.
His rookie season.
But overall, when you talk about everything, he really made the right decisions and not turn the ball over.
His rookie season, he played very well. The knock on him was the very obvious problem that he had where, fumbling the ball. Yeah. He wasn't throwing a lot of interceptions. He threw some interceptions, but the problem was ball security.
Yeah.
That's an easy problem to fix. I mean, as a lifelong Giants fan, do you remember the Giant that had a really big problem with ball security and he fixed it?
Barber.
Tiki Barber. Barber had a really big problem with ball security.
He used to hold it too high, and then they had him hold it like more secure.
Right, but guess what? Through coaching, they fixed that problem.
That was Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, and that problem went away. Now with Daniel Jones, he really didn't cough the ball up this year, so that's a really good sign. Let me go back to the Bills because I'm going to tell you what my biggest concern would be if I were a Bills fan, which I'm not. But my biggest concern would be going into next year. That what I don't know. People are saying it because I really haven't watched. Listen, the game happened. I really haven't watched any videos. I don't know what people are saying. But here's my biggest concern if I were a Bills fan. You know what it's going to be?
What's that?
Okay. My concern is going to be, is Diggs a free agent this year?
No, they re-signed him to a 4-year extension.
Okay. Here's my problem when you got a guy like that. Okay.
But although Gabe Davis is, and so Singletary.
Okay. So my problem with Diggs is what he did during Sunday's game.
A lot of people thought it was blown out of proportion. I mean, it's frustration.
It wasn't blown out of proportion. I'll tell you why it wasn't blown out of proportion. You have your number one receiver, okay? When you're not really out of the game, you're really not out of the game. You come into the sideline and you're making all these, you're frustrated and you're showing up your quarterback. Now, he did it in a way where you have to know cameras are rolling. You have to be smarter than that. And of course, he's going to play it off like I'm a competitor. I don't know what he said, but I guarantee you it was something along the lines of I'm a competitor competitor. I don't like to lose. Yeah, I was a little bit frustrated. We love each other, that type of thing. But you know what? In my opinion, he showed his true colors. That's my opinion. He showed
Well,
his
yeah.
true colors. Now,
I mean, if I make it slow to you, and I apologize, but that's what you thought of me to begin with. I
exactly.
understand that.
So,
I mean, football is a very emotional game.
Bill,
Sometimes you get really
no doubt
disgusted.
about it. But you know what? When the chips are down, okay, and you're
You
in the
got a
middle of
man
a
up.
battle, you don't need a teammate like that. Okay, period. Okay. If I honestly, I hate players like that. And the
He
Giants
was
have
known
been,
for that in Minnesota, if you remember.
he has a history of that. He has a
Yeah.
history of that. Yeah, he hung Kirk Cousins out to dry when he was in Minnesota,
Oh
right?
yeah. He also if you look at the numbers, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had 10 targets. So it's not like Josh Allen wasn't trying to get him the ball. He couldn't get open.
Well,
That's the
I
thing.
believe that. And you know what? That the one play where he had his emotional outburst on, did you see the play?
No.
Okay, so here's what happened. I know, but do your fans know that you can't watch the games because you get too anxious? Do your fans know that you can't watch it live?
No, they don't.
Okay, well, guess what? Bills Mafia, the biggest Bills fan here, he's too much of a wussy to watch the game live because he gets too
What
upset
a
when he breaks
dick.
things. Okay, so he's a little
I'm
man
not a
child.
horse to be able to kick your ass, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
All right, so anyway, back to the play. So Josh Allen steps back. Diggs basically gets a little bit of separation, and he was open. There's no doubt about it. He got a little bit of separation, and Josh Allen was looking in his direction. But guess what? The pocket was collapsing, and in
That's
my
what I
opinion,
heard.
it looked like he didn't think he had enough time to step into the throw because the pressure was coming. So what
Yeah.
he did was he kind of rolled out a little bit, if I remember. Either he rolled out or he stepped
Yeah.
back. I forget what it was. And by that time, he thought that the window was closed, right? Now he just whatever. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Diggs was open. He had a little bit of separation, but in my opinion, it looked like Allen just decided that he didn't have enough time to step into the throw. That's part of my assessment. I think as confidence comes into play, when you start throwing a lot of picks in the red zone, you start getting a little bit of gun shy, right?
Of course.
Right. So that may have come into play. So for whatever reason, Allen made a decision not to throw. He avoided the pressure. And then he basically went to his second option, third option. He went through his read progressions and he ends up throwing the ball and it, just got knocked down. Again, it was a play where Diggs thought he should have gotten the ball. He didn't get the ball, and he has his little conniption. All right. Again, you don't do that. You don't show up your quarterback like that.